Ullasasronim Hridayambojavistaram Darshaniya Tamam Shantam Mano Nayana Vardhanam. Lord's transcendental bodies descriptions are being given here because that's where our attraction has to be transferred to. That's why see that pretty much in every acharya from Srila Prabhupada's life also we can see that there's so much intensely attached to the Lord's transcendental form deity from his childhood as he became, especially before coming to US, Mala Prakriti Mataji and others share the intensity of his attachment. He was crying day and night. He was crying to standing at Advaita Bhavan, taking shelter of Advaita Acharya, taking shelter of Panchatattva. Rupa Goswami, so one of the devotee was sharing the past time that he was watching Prabhupada, and one day he went to the balcony and then he saw that he was hearing the sounds. So Prabhupada was intensely crying to Rupa Goswami, was brooming and he was crying to Sri Rupa Goswami that please help me, please tell me how I can take these instructions of Guru, what I should do, how I can do this, expanding this mission, going to the Western world. I have no idea how this can be done. So he's intensely every day. This was the business. He was very grave. He was doing the parikrama. He never took anybody's service. So it's intensity so high. This was his mood. So and a lot to we have to learn. So meditating on the deity Archa Vigraha and sincerely praying and crying for their mercy through the Acharya Parampara. So that every prayer we see that Lord Jagannath prayer also is meditating so many prayers. Kasturi Tilakam, that verse as we see, Parhabhatanatarapu, that verse we see that. So especially I was meditating on that why the lotus feet of the Lord is so much emphasized. The lotus eyes of the Lord, why this lotus? The Lord Pullarayano. So as Kadachit Kalindi Tata Vipina Sangita Karavo. So Mudaviri Nari Vadana Kamalas Vada Mudu Upa. Rama Sembu Brahma Mara Pati Ganeshachita Bado. So Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Baba to me. So that Dalot Nayano, why it is mentioned that. So the same thing is in this Yamuna Tiravanachari. So these things are mentioned because the intensity of the desires of the Lord to be in that rasa, pastimes along with the gopis of Vrindavan. So because their intensity is such, the Lord is also having that intensity of exchanging that love with his pure devotees of that caliber, that level of intensity. The highest, the epitome of devotion service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ramya Kali Upasana. So that means the heart has to be opened up for the complete to the highest level, at the purest and highest level. Dalot Pulanayana means that's why Lord Jagannath is performing those pastimes at the Kalindi Tata Vipina. Just first verse itself, first line itself can be discussed for quite some time. So Kalindi Tata Vipina Sangita Karavo. As this is discussing about the Kalindi means Yamuna Tata. So where Lord is performing the highest rasa. So one what is that verse? The third verse, Jaitam Saratar Manga is there. Then we have the second verse, Radha Madam, Radha Govind there. And the third verse, Radha Gopinath, where that verse is mentioned that Vamsi Vatastito, Karshan Venus Tanai Gopi Gopinath is. So Lord is performing this beautiful pastime, the Yamuna Tat. So here also Kalindi means Yamuna Tat. That means the intensity of the desires merging from the rivers of desires, material desires, but that has to be transformed, merged into the ocean. Rivers may overflow, causes great disturbance. It can flood. But when it merges into the ocean, then it doesn't do that. It becomes a different effect. Here also, so that means we have to merge into the ocean of the desires of the Lord, serving the Lord. So the endeavors has to merge into the material desire has to be transformed to spiritual desires. So it has so many significant meanings when we look at this. Just kalindi tata vipina sangita karavo. So aremuna tira manachari. So ardolo kollana, the lotus. That's why this lotus is given. There's so many impurities of material desire that has to be purified when you chant the holy name, when you engage in the service of the Lord. That's why this process is there, but nobody wants to follow. Nobody wants to follow. That's a cleanliness, external cleanliness has to be there. Especially if you are going to do deity worship, deity cooking, any deity service, extremely clean. External, extremely. Your hair has to be cut, your nails has to be cut, you're supposed to do Gayatri and don't jump into the altar. If you don't know, then don't go inside. You're supposed to do Gayatri, proper Achman, then you enter into the altar. It's not that it is a deity worship is not just simply a joke. It's a serious business. When we dress the deities also, we are supposed to wipe the deities, so it is lotus hand. That means there is no impurity. That it is for us to give service, the deity worship is given. That means you have to wipe in between the hands, in the ears, in the feet, everything. There is no dust. You cannot have anything, not a gum. Everything has to be removed. This is the process of deity worship. That means we have to be extremely cautious, extremely concentrating, and absorption has to be there. So if you don't do Gayatri, you jump into the altar where our consciousness will be, of course, on the material consciousness. So that's how this has to be. Cooking all the same thing. And more will be in speculative ideas. This also will be the case. When we don't meditate on this in this lotus feet of God, that's why we have to take shelter of Sri Prabhupada, Guru, Acharya Parampara, Rupa Goswami. That's why Prabhupada is crying to Rupa Goswami, because he has revealed, he has understood the desires of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is completely in unison with the Lord's desires. So that's why when we pray, then he can give us the right intelligence. We act rightly. Our mind will be rightly situated. This is the mode in which everything has to be done, especially the deity worship has to be done. Prabhupada has established this deity worship to the highest level. So the timing, the cleanliness, especially cleanliness has to be done. Timing also. I myself is guilty of timing not opening on the altar. So I'm working on it, but still so much simple activities, so much unwanted things, habits are there. So that's why, but Prabhupada wanted 45 minutes, you better finish your cooking. 45 minutes, you better finish your dressing. That is his thing. His class is also, everything is so much systematic because the purity brings everything to the right details. So that's his expertise on Acharya. So we have a lot to learn from Prabhupada's lifestyle. As meditating, as Dalot Pallana, as well as Kadam Kama Maharaj were hearing yesterday, the glories. Same thing as meditating. He has so much intense absorption. When I went to Mayapur Dham last time, 2 years ago, so Prabhupada Samadhi Mandir, we can see that his intensity, his absorption, the way he built everything, it was so gorgeous. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. So that's where we can see that his intensity, his meditation, his absorption. Otherwise, you can't do it. It's not done. It cannot be done by anybody and everybody. You may be practitioner, but that absorption has to be there on the holy name. Absorption has to be there on the Guru, Nacharya and Parampara. They will give us the intelligence. If our absorption is there, they're always trying for their mercy, their intelligence, then we'll be able to do things in a exemplary way. Otherwise, it's not possible for any ordinary conditioned soul doing that way. It's impossible task. If you depend fully on the Acharya mercy, then you can do it. So everything is so systematic, so organized. Prabhupada Samadhi is extremely beautiful, and it's a great credit to Maharaj's intense attachment to serve Prabhupada's mission and Guru. So that we have to learn a lot from Maharaj in that way. So let's read the translation. We haven't gone there. Kanchi, so many thoughts are coming. It's just I don't know how much I can explain. So Kanchi, girdle, guna, quality, ullasat, brilliant, sronim is lions and hips, hridaya, heart, amboja, lotus, vistaram, whose seat, darshaniya tamam, most charming to look at, santam, serene, mana, mind's hearts, Naina, eyes, Vardhanam, gladdening. Translation by the Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. His loins and hips are encircled by a girdle. He stands on the lotus of his devotee's heart. He is most charming to look at, and his serene aspect gladdens the eyes and the souls of the devotees who behold him. Let us repeat. His loins and hips encircled by a girdle. He stands on the lotus of his devotee's heart. This lotus, because lotus is completely pure, and it has, especially when the sun comes and it opens like anything. And we see that beautiful description is given that such a small child, when Shivananda Sen, one time he met with once in few years, they used to bring along with the family members, wife and kids also. So Advaita Acharya, everybody was bringing like that. So Shivananda Sen also brought his wife and his son also, Puridas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself gave his full mercy. He himself named him Puridas. And then one time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, chant the holy name. So he was not chanting. And Sarvabh Damodar Goswami said, I think he is, because you initiated him in the chanting of the holy name, he doesn't want to tell anybody, he doesn't want to utter it publicly. So next time, then again he asked, when you chant a verse, quote a verse. Then he quoted a beautiful verse. So, Sravaso Kovalayor Akshno Ranjanam. So, Vrindavana Ramaniya Mandanam Akilam Harer Jagat. So, Sravasa Kovalayor. So, means as the ears are compared to the Kovalaya, the lotus. So, blue lotuses. So, of course, as we see that Rupa Goswami describing the Hari, two syllables. So, thousands of mouths, as it enters into the heart, prangana, so then it becomes intoxicated with great bliss. That's what this lotus means. The heart has to be completely unison with the Lord when it purified at that stage, but we have to a lot of works. Sravaso Kuvalayo Akshanam Anjanam. These eyes are like ointment. Varaso Manidhama. This chest is like the emerald stones. Vrindavana Ramaninam Bandhanam. So this Vrindavan is the gopis' love for the Lord. Then Akilam Hare Jayati. So beautifully, this small child, how is it possible? That means he is so intensely absorbed in association with the devotee, as per Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his father himself, Swanand Sen, was completely was maintaining all the devotees every year. He has taken to the highest level. His resources, everything is used in the service of the Lord. So much more so in the devotees, also serving devotees. So of course, this whole family has been transformed by the Lord's mercy. So that's where we have to also understand this principle and then try to engage ourselves, our family, wherever we meet. We try to tell them, and then we suggest them. We try to inspire them by our loving dealings and by our behavior. So then our Guru Acharya Parampara will be pleased with our sincerity, and then they will go more inspiration, more intelligence. So we have to constantly meditate in this way, as this small boy is meditating and serving. Sravasa Kolayom Makshno Ranjanam. Varaso Mahendra Manidhama. This is an Antilila chapter 16, beautiful chapter, verse number 74, chapter 16. Vrindavana Ramanina Mandanam Akilam Hare Jayati. Lord Sri Krishna is just like a bluish lotus flower for the ears, is the ointment for the eyes, a necklace of Indraninga gems for the chest, and universal ornament for the gopi damsels of Vrindavan. Let that Lord Sri Hari Krishna be glorified. So that's what we can understand. His lions and hips encircled by a girdle. He stands on the lotus of his devotee's arm. He is the most charming to look at. In his serene aspect, gladdens the eyes and the souls of the devotees who behold him. And so, beautiful description has been given here. So that means the deity worship has to be understood thoroughly. As so, the description is there. Tilamangal Thakurim, Kasturi Tilake, Lalata Palake, Vakshasthale, Kaustuvam, Nasagre, Navamautigam, Karatale, Vedum, Kante, Chamukta, Gopastri Parivestito Vijayate Gopala Chudamani Sarvange Harichandanancha Kalayam. I'm forgetting the last line. But as we hear this description, don't just leave it. Yeah, hearing is very nice. But after that, what we do? That matters. That matters. Every time you go, as you hear what is described, then you have to try to do something about it. Do something about it. So, what are we doing about it? That has to be considered. Kasturi, Talake, Lalata, Palake. So, make sure that when you open the altar, don't just open it. It's not impersonal. We have to be very careful. We all have a lot to do, lot to improve. Everything has to be there. The peacock is there, the flute is there, the stick is there. Uh, and you can't post the pictures either. Just like we want to post the picture which is very nice. You don't want to show something which is not nice to them. Same thing here. So that means when somebody Pujari is opening the altar, he has to make sure it is whoever is on the altar, they have to make sure things are properly done, everything is there, nothing is missing. And we have to learn from the great devotees, His Grace Jananivas Prabhu. We have to look at the example of Sridham Mahaprabhu, how it is done. We have to learn from him. We have to be trained by him. So, for those devotees who have been trained by Srila Prabhupada, we have a lot to learn and we have to improve. We have to work on it. And these things are very important. So, Kasturi, Talake, Lalata, Valake, Vakshas, Tale, Kaustuvam. Everything has to be nicely decorated. Deity. More you decorate the deity, more our heart can be decorated. Otherwise, it can't be decorated. Kasturam as Chandana, Sarvangya, Harichandanam Chakalayam. Then we have to make sure that every time we are there, especially in the morning, Chandan has to be offered properly. That Chandan also, many devotees don't know how to Chandan. This is the process. That's what I'm saying. It requires a lot of training. If we don't read Prabhupada's books, you don't hear from Prabhupada, you are not trained with expert devotees who are expert in that, you'll never improve. You'll never improve. We need to know how to do Chandan. What has been described in Chaitanya Charitamrita especially. Everything we have to know. Abhishek also. There's the process, there's the steps. What ingredient, what goes first, where. Otherwise, we will do simply mind speculation only, which is not a good idea in deity worship, which is not a good idea at all. It just doesn't purify our hearts. So that's why this deity worship requires a lot of intensity, absorption, meditation, and training, and following it. So then actually we can purify our heart. Then our material attraction, agitation, anxiety will be completely withdrawn and come to the spiritual attraction, spiritual absorption. It will come. But otherwise it cannot come because we are just simply hearing, not doing anything about it. What are we going to offer? Say Lord Ramchandra April 16, what are we going to do about it? Narsingh Chaturdashi is coming, what are we going to do about it? Plan now, execute. So this is the process. Deity worship is not just simply you do monotonously same thing, you continue every day, every month. No, that's not the process. That's not the process. So Prabhupada is very particular in this. Worship gorgeously means it has to be done gorgeously. And it is everyone's responsibility. It is not one person's responsibility. If everybody comes together, this can happen. If everybody doesn't come together, it cannot happen. So it requires a lot of minds and hearts and loving relationship. Then you can make it happen. Then our hearts will be purified. Then the whole New Jersey can be filled with bliss, and more people so people will be ready to will be standing in the lines. So that's what is needed. So our hearts has to be completely meditating how we can worship the deity gorgeously. A lot of work to be done. So the word darshaniyatamam, which is used in this verse, means that the Lord is so beautiful. So now our heart has to be beautified as well. That means more we have to gorgeously make this deity beautiful. That means we have to know, we have to learn. That the devotee yogi does not wish to see anything else. Ramante yogino ananta satyananda chidatma. Iti Rama padena param brahma vidiyate. So the yogis are meditating unlimited bliss is getting by chanting the Rama's name. So one is meditating, absorption. So his desire is to see beautiful objects. He is completely satisfied by the sight of the Lord. So that's the lotus feet has to be worshipped, massaged. Every time you go on the altar, you massage that. Especially the two small deities are the most important. They have to be worshipped gorgeously, they have to be offered gorgeously, they have to be dressed gorgeously because they are through Archa Vigraha only. Neither you can tie them either. That also we have to know because they are the ones who goes out. So they cannot be tied either. So if these principles are there, we have to know. It's not that what I like, my mind speculation, this is what I like, I'll do. No, that's not deity worship. That is your own worship. That is impersonal worship. So deity worship means we have to learn. We have to understand from those who have been trained by the from Jananivas Prabhu or others who have been trained by Prabhupada. Then we learn and we do it. Then it is proper way to do. If we don't learn, if we don't understand, then it will be something else. We can't please because we can't please Prabhupada if we don't follow what he's been given. Something else it will become. So that will not be good for us. So, but the desire is never satisfied because of the material contamination. All the propensities we feel in the material world are ever unsatisfied. But when our desire is to see, hear, touch, etc., or dovetail for the satisfaction of the Supreme Person, that's why we have to massage the deities. It's very important. How will you get your lotus footprints of the deities when you are chanting? It cannot come just like that. When you touch the deity, that's what it is. It's not simply you go and do anything you do in deity worship, you trust the deities in any way you want, you come out. That's not deity worship. Deity worship means you have to personally feel it. You have to probably you have to spend time. That is the first thing required. You cannot rush. You rush means your life is rush only. Your desires will never go away. So that you have to pay attention. That means you have to be personally be there and don't run. So you have to spend time. That means you have to massage the deity, you have to massage the lotus feet. Everything has to be nice and clean. You put everything properly. The jewelry has to be clean, everything has to be clean. So then only actually you are giving pleasure. And that's why when Prabhupada is taking darshan, a lot is indicating. I am not getting proper food, my plates are not clean. That is his darshan. His darshan means his Lord is directly communicating. He's communicating what's going on, how he is being served. Are we doing the same thing? When our darshan, no, we are our darshan. I'm getting that is nice. We are thinking what whether my eyes are getting pleasure or not. We are not actually giving pleasure to Krishna. We are trying to take pleasure. That is our idea. That is our consciousness. So Acharya consciousness is actually how I can give pleasure to Krishna. That's what he is absorbed in. But we are completely in the opposite direction. So that has to be changed. So that then we change that to that consciousness, then actually we can really feel the bliss. Well, Lord will give the bliss at that point as we see, as we are attached to the Acharya Parampara and the Lord, then that can happen. Otherwise, it is very difficult to come to that. Dovetail for satisfying Supreme Personality, they are on that level of topmost perfection. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his eternal form is so beautiful and pleasing to the heart of the devotee, he does not attract the impersonalists who want to meditate on his impersonal aspects. Such impersonal meditation is simply fruitless labor. The actual yogis with the half-closed eyes fix on the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead, not upon anything void or impersonal. So that's many verses are there. Yat pada pankaja palasa bhaktya tat na rikta matayo. So there in that verse in the fourth canto it has been described. So more you meditate and worship the lotus feet of the Lord. Yat pada pankaja. Pada pankaja, the toenails of the lotus feet of the Lord. Vilasa bhaktya. Then karma gratayanti. All the fruity mentality will go away, will be purified. So even the jnanis cannot come to that platform because they are completely withdrawn away from Avisuddha Buddha. They are not attached to lotus feet. That is their biggest problem. Then their heart cannot be purified. They will drop again, come from that impersonal aspect to they will come down to the material world and engage in philanthropic work, as in those verse. We'll stop in 2 minutes. We'll chant. We'll sing also one song, beautiful song, as you all know that song. The devotees who are always engaged in the service of toenails of the lotus feet can very easily overcome the hard-knotted desires for fruity life because this is very difficult. Prabhupada saying very difficult. That's why absorption is required. The non-devotees, the jnanis and yogis, although trying to stop the waves of sense gratification, cannot do so. Therefore, you are advised to engage in devotional service of Krishna. the son of Vasudeva. Bhaja Aranam Bhaja Vasudeva. Slota Ganatam Aranam Bhaja Vasudeva. So karma same Grititam Udgayanti Santa. And then Prabhupada explained that chanting of the holy name in the last line. How one can come to that. This verse in the purport. So we'll sing that. Already time is up. Let us sing this beautiful bhajan, beautiful song. Vrindavana Ramyasthana Divya Chintamani Dama Ratna Mandira Manohara Abrakalindi Nire Rajahamsa Keli Kare Tahe Sobe Kanaka Kama Tara Madhye Hemapita Ashtadale Vestita Ashtadale Pradhana Naika Tara Madhye Ratnasane Basiyache Dui Jane Shama Sange Sundari Radhika Vrindavana Ramyasthana Divya Chintamani Dama Ratna Mandira Manohara Orupa Lavanya Rasi Amiya Parite Kasi Asya Parihasa Sambhashane Narottama Dasa Hui Nityalila Sukhamon Sada Spuruk Moramane. Let's look at it. Beautiful Vrindavana is filled with Chintamani gems and many jewel palaces and temples. Many regal swans play in the waters of the Yamuna, and in those waters a splendid golden lotus flower grows. In the middle of that lotus is a golden palace surrounded by 8 petals. On these 8 petals, the 8 principal gopis reside. In the center, the Lord Shyamsundar and the beautiful Srimati Radharani sit on the jewel throne. The great beauty of divine couple and their charming, joking laughter continually showers nectar everywhere. Narottam Das says, I pray that these beautiful, eternal, transcendental pastimes of the divine couple may be always manifested in my heart. So this is the beautiful description of Radha Shyamsundar in Vrindavan. But we should worship the deities in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan, gorgeously. Yes, in Holy Ram, they can do in a little bit in different way. But in the rest of all over the world, the temple has to be worshipped in Lakshmi Narayan form. So people understand. Otherwise, you worship them in a different mood, in a different way, then people get a different wrong idea. You dress them in Santa Claus or something else, then people get the same idea. You don't put shirt. That's why did Prabhupada said that. Don't do that in the Western world. Without, yes, in Mayapur Dham or Vrindavan, they can do that without shirt. If you do that same here, then people will think completely they get a wrong idea. So that's the Prabhupada knows exactly what to be done, what not to be done, especially in Western world when you trust the deities. So these things has to be understood from Prabhupada, so that then we can please Prabhupada. By pleasing Prabhupada, then we can actually perfect our heart and perfect our this materialistic life, come to the purified Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Jai Krishna. Already time is over. Amraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktam ki jai. So much to be said on this verse, but I need to start. So Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Krishna. We'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. And we'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Nrsingo, Jai Nrsingo, Jai Nrsingo, Praladesha, Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Venga. Ugraveera Mahavishnu, Jwalantam Sarvatomukham. Nrsingham Vishnu Bhadram Nityam Namamiham. Nrsinga Bhagwan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas of the Lord. Vanchakalpataruvacha, Kripa Sindhu Bhayavacha, पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। वैष्णववृंद की जय, ग्रंथ
जय
भागवतम की जय, श्रील
जय
प्रभुपाद की जय। गौर
जय
प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि हरि।
हरि हरि
थैंक यू प्रभु जी, हरे
थैंक यू
कृष्णा।
एवरीबॉडी, हरि बोल, हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा।